Okay. Welcome everyone to this Heart of La Porte meeting. My name is Beth Schrader. I am your city planner, and I'm very excited you're here. Tonight we're going to be looking at some alternatives that have been created based on the input that we've gotten from you all and the larger community through our outreach in October and yesterday and today. So we're excited for you to see that. But first, I'd like to know, has anybody attended a Heart of La Porte meeting tonight for the first time? All right, perfect. So I'm going to give a brief introduction to the project for these people. So we are looking at the section or the area in blue here. That is the Heart of La Porte geographically, and it's also where a lot of investment has been made over the past 10 to 20 years. It roughly aligns with our TIF district for the Central Business District. And that has a lot to do with why there's been investment made, because there are funds available to invest in this area. So I'd like to introduce the team that's working on this project. We have a project team made up of lead by Smith Group, and we have SEH of Indiana, and we also have Holiday Properties. And would our project team raise your hands so everyone can see who they are? They're kind of all the way around the room, and if they have a name tag like this, if you have questions, they can help answer them as we're doing our activities. As we're looking at this area tonight, we're focused on healthy living. I think that we'll learn more about that going forward. So this is the vision that we created for this plan. This is what we're trying to achieve. We want to make sure that we make investments that are going to drive healthy living in this area and throughout the community. And we'll do that by creating destinations that people want to go to, and they want to get there by walking and biking, and they want to be in these places together as a community. So are we ready to move on? And this is Kathleen.
Hi, so I'm part of the consulting team here today. We're on day 2 of a 3-day workshop, so I just kind of wanted to show you, and in phase 2 of a 5-step process. So over on the left here is our overall schedule. You'll see we've done some meetings in October, and here we are in November. And so the conclusion of today's meeting is we're kind of midway through the process, trying to sketch out a lot of what we've heard to date, but nothing is set in stone yet. So we're here all day tomorrow as well, working diligently through the day to refine all of our ideas based on your input tonight. So this is a very what we call an iterative process. So we make lots and lots of versions of things as we go through the process to come up with something that makes sense in a variety of factors for the community. So input to date, we've had lots of meetings. Our team was here in October. We had 2 days of stakeholder interviews. We met with about 70 different people, employers, officials, residents, advocates, and we had a public visioning session over at City Hall that day, one of those evenings, and had about 70 participants. How many of you came to that visioning session meeting? Just one? The one at City Hall. A couple there. So there's an online survey that is still open, so you're welcome to go take that. That input can be coming in. Go to heartoflaporte.org is the website for this project. So we're still getting survey responses back. We have a do-it-yourself workshop kit that we've received a couple of those back. It mimics the survey and some of the other input questions, but those have been useful. We had a bunch of students fill one out, which was a really fun exercise to hear what they have to say. We had a tactical urbanism group kind of go rogue and do their own set of input and provide that to us, so that's being factored into this as well. So yesterday we had some site visits, some cold but not too cold, brisk site visits, walking around, walking tours. How many of you participated in some walking tours yesterday? I see a few of you, just a couple out there, which was really informative for us to like be on the ground with residents to understand what some of their ideas were in person. And then yesterday evening we played a board game, and the results of that are in the back there. There are 3 different board game pieces if you want to take a look at those to see what people were brainstorming. So we've built on all of these different ideas and concepts. We had some folks drop in today as well to just see what we were up to and provide some intermediate feedback to give us a better understanding. Are we going in the right direction? And does this make sense? And does this not make sense? So lots of participation to date. It builds upon itself so that we are hopefully going to have some sort of consensus direction at the end of all of this. So when we talk about all the input we've heard to date, we have a couple ways that we're thinking about organizing it. So we want to make sure that vision that Beth was describing, we want to make sure that we, all of our recommendations help accomplish some goals in the City of La Porte for this Heart of La Porte area. And so we want to make sure that it makes sense to fund it, that we have an ability to pay for it and maintain it, that there's a market for whatever different uses we're looking at. We don't want to just build a bunch of buildings that are going to sit vacant. We want to make sure that it's we're promoting interaction among the community and building up the community spirit and thinking about ways for people to interact. You already have a lot of festivals and events and things, so are there opportunities to add more of that? Acknowledging the history of the site, thinking about the industrial past, while recognizing that there's a lot of it can be done in the future to make it feel like a place. Looking at remediation, there's ongoing efforts, especially in NewPorte Landing, of remediating what was former industrial sites, so making sure that it's environmentally contained so that we can redevelop those areas, and making sure that when it comes to the infrastructure systems that it all works. So we've got some engineers here, we've got landscape architects, we've got, I'm an urban planner. What am I missing? Architects, economic development specialists. So we've got a broad team of folks that are working together to make sure this all makes sense across all these different aspects. And remember, this is a long-range plan. So while we're looking for some short-term recommendations that can be implemented soon and hopefully spur other development and opportunities to happen, we're also looking in the long term. So this will take time. It'll be a phased plan over time, and the city's ability to partner with others to get things done will take, some years, some decades here. So what should the Heart of La Porte look like for your children, for your grandchildren? It's not just how you use things today. So when it comes to this, it's a healthy living plan. So we want to make sure that we're thinking about all the different metrics that go into thinking about what a person is, how this plan can affect someone's healthy state of mind, having good mental health, good social, stress-relieving things, keeping us healthy mentally, our physical bodies, having physical ways to get out into the world and exercise and have good air quality, thinking about the community side of things, just a variety of different metrics. So when it comes to improving the community, improving your body and your mind, we want to be thinking about that. How well are we meeting these goals for the plan? So we're going to have you, when you go to the different stations shortly here around the couple rooms, be thinking about these types of metrics of how well will this help improve for both for you and for future generations. And we haven't quite figured out all of the implementation yet. So we're still just in the design phase. So we're still just brainstorming, but We as professionals know how to kind of balance some of those things. Well, we really think this is probably too costly. We think about those things, but tomorrow we'll get into more of that and writing the plan and finishing the plan and figuring out how we're going to get all of this done. Who is going to implement it? What are the key sites that are going to catalyze extra development down the way, or new trails, like phasing of things, looking at the different partners. Like the city can't do all of this on its own, so who can be a key partner to help revitalize different parts of the study area. And there are other plans. This is just one particular study for this particular area. There are future things like a citywide comprehensive plan that the city would like to do to look at all the neighborhoods in the city. We think there probably needs to be some sort of, future parks plans will continue to be generated for the different areas. So this is just one tool kind of in the toolbox when it comes to planning for the city. So we have kind of 4 groupings of alternatives. So what we're going to do is we're going to have you divide into 4 groups. And each of our consultants that are working on each of these 4 things will walk you through some of the preliminary concepts, and then they'll walk you through how to provide input. And it's it's similar at each of the 4 sites, but just different enough that they will make sure that they explain to you how you're going to give input. So when I say, sorry about the mic doing weird things, when I say go, we'd like some of you to go out into the hall. You'll all rotate to each of the 4 stations. We'll do like 10 minutes at each station, so you'll get to see all of them. So there's no order to any of them. We just have a big group here, which is awesome. So we want to make sure that you have enough time to talk with your neighbors, to talk with the consultants on each of the key topics. So some of it will be projected up here on this screen. So that's one station, kind of looking at the Clear Lake and Fox Park area. And then back here in the room, our consultants who are working on this on Lincoln Way, alternatives for Lincoln Way itself. So some of you will be back there. And then there are 2 different groups with the boards in the lobby that you might have seen when you walked in. So we want 4 or 5 people at each station. So we'll help shepherd you a little bit here when we break. But like I said, we'll rotate around. I'll be the timekeeper and make sure that we keep things moving so you'll get to see everything and provide feedback on them. So as you're looking at these alternatives, again, think about how you would use the site for this, but also think about how it could benefit the community. So think about your neighbors, think about your kids, think about your friends, or future residents or existing residents, just anyone in the future that might benefit from some of these improvements. Try to think outside of just how you use the sub-area. And thinking about, again, this idea of health, your physical and mental health, so the health of the community and yourself for each of them. That's how we want you to vote. So some of the activities, you can just write answers to what you like, what you change, how would this improve healthy living. So there are notepads like this at some of the stations. And then some of them have these voting dots. So what you'll do is vote on how well each alternative, so in this case there are 3 different versions, 3 different ideas that they'll present to you, and you get to vote on how well you think it meets certain criteria. So the consultant team will make sure that they get all of your feedback on all of these things and help us tonight. We'll keep working a little bit tonight, and tomorrow refine things based on how you provide feedback. So with that, any quick questions? Let's divide up. So having a lot of you, like half of you need to go out there and half of you need to stay here. So let's see if we can self-segregate a little bit and then we'll adjust. So about 4 or 5 at each station.
I'll go work with AJ out
Okay.
there, so I'll help Jake.
I had to say no to the microphone actually, right? Because they're